Hello, Kheya, Miss Kheya.
Yes. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. Um, আপনি আরাম করে দাও স্যার একটু পরে জয়েন করবে হ্যাঁ
Okay, ma'am. Should I
ঠিক
start? Okay.
ঠিক ঠিক স্টার্ট করে দাও
All
হ্যাঁ
right, all right, ma'am.
হ্যাঁ থ্যাংক ইউ
Ma'am, am I audible?
হ্যাঁ জি অডিবল অডিবল
All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good evening to all of you. Good evening to my respected teacher, Sir Dr. Pramod Kumar Das, the principal speaker of today. He is yet to be joined here. And my dear brothers and friends, my dear um, respected teachers present here, and all the learned participants today present here. And today, Sir has selected me as a co-speaker and also to introduce the theme of this very discussion. As it is already mentioned that today's theme is the first sloka of the Ishu Upanishad. First of all, let us try to understand that why Ishu Upanishad, this name, came into place. The very first word of this Upanishad is Isha. That is why it is thought that the name of this Upanishad is given Isha Upanishad. This Upanishad consists the last chapter of the Vajrashoni Samhita of the Shukla Yajur Veda. And we will see that the main theme of this Isha Upanishad has been beautifully explained in, in and through 18 mantras, which we will try to understand one by one. And today, as Sir has suggested, we will try to focus on the very first sloka of the Ishopanishad. What this first sloka of this Ishopanishad says? It says, Ishavasyamidang sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथा मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनं तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथा मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनं. What this sloka mean? This sloka saying that this world where we live is always changing, is always in a motion. That is why it is called Jagat. And whatever is there in this Jagat, in this world, are also in motion. This sloka is saying. Whatever is in this world, those all are always evolving. Those all are always in motion. All are always changing. Now, let us take the example of a river. We know that a river is always flowing, right? But is the flow of a river possible without a fixed river bed? It cannot flow, right, without a river bed. Similarly, it is showing us that the dynamicity, the very movement of this world is not possible without a fixed substratum. And what is this fixed substratum? The very first sloka is pointing it out to us. The fixed substratum is the Isha or the Lord. Hello, someone named Ritu Rishi. Can you please mute? Yeah, thank you. If I'm not audible, then please let me know because through online mode it is not possible to understand. I hope I'm audible clearly. Ma'am, am I audible? No?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, sir. Um, so, we were explaining the very first sloka, the very first line of the first sloka of the Upanisad. And we saw that Isha or the Lord, that is the fixed substratum without which the very flow, the very dynamicity or the very movement of this world is not possible. Hence, it is said that Jagatyam, that is, in this dynamic world, Yat Kincha Jagat, that means whatever is in constant motion, is in constant flows, constantly evolving, Idam Sarvam, all these, Ishavasya, is covered by the same Lord. Now, as we will progress with the Vedanta philosophy, we will understand this oneness of everything, this oneness of all existence, as it is cited in this first sloka, is the one central principle or is one central ideal of the Vedanta philosophy. And you know that Swami Vivekananda, what would Swami Vivekananda say here regarding an ideal? Swami Vivekananda would say that an ideal, if it is absolutely impracticable, then it is of no value to us. Then the ideal remains only an intellectual gymnastic. So now the question comes that is it the same case with this first sloka of the Isha Upanishad? Is this only a theory? Is this only an intellectual gymnastic? Or is it a fact? Or is it practicable in our day to day life? When we will proceed to the next line of this first mantra, we will find that this first line of this shloka is not a mere theory, is not a mere intellectual gymnastic, but it is a very fact which we can practice in our day to day life. It is out and out practical. And let us see how. We see that this oneness, this very idea of oneness of everything, the oneness of all existence, gradually take us to the ideal of the brotherhood of all souls. Swami Vivekananda is beautifully pointing it out in his practical Vedanta. He's showing that not only human beings, not only it is not talking about the brotherhood of all human beings, but it is adding something more. This sloka, this the idea of oneness includes the animals also. It it includes, it says that not only human beings but animals are also our brothers. Now, um, let us see that how can we practice it, how can we make it rationalize it more beautifully or more accurately. Let us take the example of a brother and sister. Right? When a brother or sister comes to know that the same blood is flowing through the vein of me and my brother, and then the bond of them becomes stronger, right? In the same way, I think when we will realize that the same one and the same energy is flowing through all of us, then won't the whole world will become our family? Don't you think so? I think that if one realizes that we are nothing but the expression of one and the same energy, we are nothing but the manifestation of one and the same energy or the same energy is flowing through all of us. That is why we are existing. Then this whole world becomes our family. And can we covet anything from our own brother or from our beloved ones? We cannot, right? Rather, we enjoy delight here through renunciation. Hence, it is said in the next line of the very first sloka that Tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gridha kasya svedhanam. That is, enjoy delight through sacrifice, enjoy delight through renunciation. Just like a mother delights by sacrificing for her children, a lover delights by sacrificing for her beloved. And it is adding one point more that do not covet the wealth of anyone. Why? What is the reason behind it? Let us try to understand. Actually, the Isha Upanishad is gradually taking us to the truth. Not only Isha Upanishad, but gradually we will see that all the Upanishads, the whole Vedanta philosophy is taking us, is holding our hand and taking us, pointing us to the truth that see, in reality, we are not separate from each other, but in reality, we all are organically interrelated with each other. So, if we covet the wealth of anyone, or if we harm anyone, if we injure anyone, then ultimately, indirectly, we will be injuring ourselves, we will be harming ourselves. Now, one may ask that what is the rationale behind saying this? Okay, let us look at the present scenario to find its answer, to find its rationale behind saying this. We know that today we are going through a tremendous crisis of environmental pollution or the disbalance of environmental harmony. We see that immense pollution, industrialization, deforestation, and the rapid increase of global warming. All this, what are the sign of? We think these all don't they all indicate to the same truth that in reality we are not separate from each other. The trees, the river, the birds, the bees, the human beings, and all the animals and all the living creatures and everything. We all are connected with each other and we are not separate from each other. We all are organically interrelated. If we harm any one of them, we will be endangering our very existence. And this is what we are doing today, isn't it? So, till now, I would like to conclude. And now it is over to my respected teacher, the head of philosophy family, Dr. Mas. I would request Sir to elaborate the first sloka of the Upanishad and enlighten us. Sir, please.
Namaskar to all of you. Kheya, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Now you mute yourself. Please mute all. Yes, this silence is the real value of life. Okay, no type of noise, outside and inside. Silence in thought, speech, and action. Silence does not mean that you are not speaking. Silence does not mean that you are not thinking. Silence does not mean that you are not doing anything. Even if you are not speaking, you are not silent. Your mind is engaged in different types of thoughts. So, silence is the greatest value of human life. Thank you very much. Again, there is noise. Okay. Thank you, Kheya. Beautifully, you chanted the first verse, and you also beautifully explained the first verse. Your attempt was very good. I always encourage research scholars to come forward and to speak something, to try. Okay, so, so by that you can develop your extempore way of speaking, and gradually you will have self transformation. Okay, so everybody, not only Kheya, all research scholars should come forward. Thank you. In this first verse of Upanisad, we are introduced with Upanishadic wisdom. Upanishad itself is knowledge oriented, and in the very first verse, we are introduced with the highest wisdom that every man, in order to live in this world of diversity, should have this realization, this wisdom. What is that wisdom? The wisdom is that behind the screen of diversity, behind the screen of multiplicity, behind the screen of appearance, there is one reality. This is the highest wisdom. If you have knowledge of diversity, then you are a very good scientist because you know many things. You know many disciplines. You are expert in many disciplines. But if you do not know that behind the diversity, behind the multiplicity, there is one reality, then you know nothing. That means your knowledge has no base, baseless wisdom. So, Upanishad starts with the first verse, and that imparts us the Upanishadic wisdom that reality is one. That is the principle of consciousness. Technically, it is called Isha. We may give any name to it. We may call it Isha, we may call it God, even we may call it Allah, we may give any name, but the principle is one. It is not, the principles are not two, principles are not many. Everything is explained by one principle. There are three theories, basically three theories: monism, dualism, and pluralism. When everything is explained by one principle, this is monism. Everything is explained by one principle. This is a trend of thought. This is a way of thinking. This is a way of looking at the reality, understanding the reality, that I can explain everything by one principle. Many great philosophers, they do not agree to this proposal. They say it is impossible. How can we explain everything or the opposite reality by one principle? For example, how can we explain matter which is unconscious by nature by the principle of consciousness? So there are two principles. Matter will explain matter, and consciousness will explain consciousness. So in order to explain everything, we shall have two access. One is consciousness and the other is matter. So by that way, we can explain this Jagat. The purpose of philosophy is to explain Jagat. Purpose of philosophy to explain the creation, to explain the reality. And attempts are many. Many thinkers think that reality can be explained by one principle. Satyam avadhitam. That means truth is non-contradictory by nature. This is the definition of truth. If you take anything as true, then that cannot be contradicted by any other principle. There is no second. There is no other. The other is absent. So only one principle. If there is the second, if there is the other, then there is a relation of a contradiction. So science concludes with relativity. Science is silent about absolute reality. Nothing is absolute. Science claims the practical knowledge. Scientific method is based upon experience and experiment. But what is the conclusion of science? Science concludes that everything is relative and it is natural. If we shall depend upon our perception as a source of knowledge, our experience as a source of knowledge, our experiment as the source of knowledge, and we shall try to explain everything by the natural laws, the law of causation, law of uniformity of nature, then naturally our conclusion will be that everything is subject to, everything is relative. So three possibilities are there, that everything can be explained by one principle, everything can be explained by two principles, two basic principles, matter and consciousness. In both Western and Indian philosophy, it has been accepted. In Indian philosophy, it is Sankhya system which believes in Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha and Prakriti are independent to each other. Purusha is conscious and inactive, Prakriti is unconscious and active. This is so imagined. Every system is an imagination of a thinker. As you think, so you become, so you create a system and you become the propounder of that system. So this is one thought. This is one possible description of the Jagat. That everything can be explained by two basic principles, one is Purusha and the other is Prakriti. And there is the third way of knowing, that is pluralism, that is atomism, that everything is explained by many principles. Each and every atom is responsible, is required for the explanation of the creation. Many. So out of many we can explain the Jagat. Out of two basic principles we can explain Jagat. And out of one principle we can explain Jagat. So there are three models, basically three models. Out of these three models, Upanishad believes in the first model, that is monism. And Shankara interprets it as non-dualism. There is a difference between monism and non-dualism. It is not two. This is again the higher knowledge. The knowledge of non-dualism, the wisdom of non-dualism is higher than the knowledge of monism. By one principle, we can explain the Jagat. But when we say it is not two, that indicates the limit of our knowledge, limit of our description. That even we can't describe it as one. Better we can describe it in the negative way. Neti, 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 not this, not this, not this. So not two. It is not two. You can't have a positive description that is it is one. So Upanishadic principle, Upanishadic way of um, explanation, when we try to explain the Jagat from the perspective of Upanishad, we believe in this model of monism, that everything is explained by one principle. Though you are all students of fifth semester, so you will have this understanding that what is monism, what is dualism, and what is pluralism. And it is discussed in the first semester in general philosophy. In general philosophy, you are introduced with so many concepts. What is monism, what is dualism, what is pluralism. So many concepts are discussed in the classroom in the first semester. So you have to know these three models: monism, dualism, and pluralism. And basically, Upanishad believes in the first model, that is the monistic model, that is the monism, one reality. Many Upanishads call it Brahman, it may be called Atman, it may be called Isha, it may be called God. In which name we call it, it does not matter. But we have to understand the principle that it is one. Then what is the status of this world of diversity? I experience manyness, I experience the contradictions. Then how can I understand that there is oneness? Because in our practice, Kheya spoke about practical life. That Upanishadic knowledge is very much practical. It is pragmatic. But the question will come that in my practical life, I experience contradiction. Whatever I experience changes. My, my body is changing, my mind is changing, everything is changing. So I am living in this world of changes, I am living in this world of diversity. This is the practical life. But how can I understand that there is oneness? This is $1,000,000 question. If we shall relate Upanishadic wisdom with practical life, then what is really our practical life? In our practical life, we experience contradictions, we experience falsity, we experience changes. We are undergoing different changes. So how can we understand that satyam avadhitam, truth is not contradicted? So here comes the knowledge gap. Knowledge gap. That means if you are satisfied with your experience of diversity, then that determines one status of knowledge. You are satisfied with scientific discovery. You are satisfied with scientific conclusion. That yes, I see many, so manyness is true. I see the diversity, I experience the diversity, so diversity is true. But there is another experience, there is another knowledge when you will transcend, you will go beyond the world of diversity and you can have a unified vision of the oneness. That behind everything there is only one reality. How can you practice this in your practical life? That is the question. So we shall take an example. When we are sleeping, when we are sleeping, we are out of all types of relations. We are not anybody's. We are not related to anybody. Neither we are father, nor we are nor I am a father, nor I am a son. I am nothing. I am formless. I have no form at all. I don't have any form. But when I am awaking, then I have different form. I am connected with different forms. I become attached with different forms. The moment you are sleeping, you are nobody. The moment you are awakening, you are everybody. Every attachment, every response, and when you are everybody, you have every responsibility. You have all responsibilities. You remember your bank balance, you remember your assignments, you remember your relations, you remember your commitments, promises, and that is your practical life. But where that practical life goes when you are asleep, we have to understand these two status of existence. In the sleep mode, I exist. In the waking mode, I exist. In both the situations, I exist. But when I am sleeping, I am out of all relations. All relations. And when I am awakening, I am engaged with all relations. Suppose you are not sleeping. Somebody will say, why should I sleep? I shall not sleep. Sleeping, you are sleeping, that is a symbolic example. Even if you are absent minded, even if you are absent minded, then also you are out of form. Even if you are absent, suppose a mad person, a lunatic person. I am giving a negative example. A lunatic person is not lunatic person is not sleeping. A lunatic person is not sleeping. I am muting this Vishwanatha Laha. Don't unmute yourself when you are not asked. That is the sleeping mode. Just sleep. What I was saying. What is the situation of a mad person, a lunatic person? That person is not sleeping, but he is detached from all types of forms. This is a negative example. Similarly, for a yogi, for a person having Upanishadic wisdom, who is established with Upanishadic wisdom, who is groomed with Upanishadic wisdom, in the very waking state also, he can be aware of oneness. He or she does not need to sleep. When you are sleeping, you are out of forms. It is understood. If you are absent minded, then you are out of forms. It is understood. If you become mad, then you are out of forms. It is understood. But when you are very much active, very much aware of this world of diversity, then also you are out of all forms. That means you are with all forms, and at the same time you are without all forms. So this existence of with and without is possible when you transcend your existence from lower existence to higher existence, from lower level of consciousness to higher level of consciousness. I am giving an example. Mother knows that she is mother. Child does not know that she is a child. This is the difference. Mother knows that she is a mother. Mother knows that she is the mother of that child. But child does not know that she is a child. So the child is engaged. The child is engaged in doll. Child is engaged in its play. Mother is also playing with the child. So mother has double status. Mother is playing with the child. This is one status. Therefore, the child is satisfied. But at the same time, mother knows that she is playing with the child. So mother is playing double role. Mother is a mother, and mother is playing with the child. But the child does not know that the mother is playing with me as per playing with me only to pass time, only to nullify, only to pacify me. The child does not know. That means I am angry, but I am conscious that I am angry. This is the situation. I am involved in one role. I am doing something. I am that is my duty also. I am doing my duty in society, but I am not attached to that. I am not the agent. I am not the agent. So this is possible by Upanishadic wisdom. In that sense, Upanishadic wisdom is practical. Why Upanishadic wisdom is practical? Because that liberates us. Sa vidya ja vimukta. Knowledge is liberative by nature. Knowledge is liberative by nature. By knowing which, we can be free from the bondage. We do something, we desire something, but that desire should not be the source of our bondage. We live in this world, but our living in this world should not be our bondage. We are maintaining different relations, but such relations should not be our bondage. So we shall do all social obligations, we shall do all social activities, we shall live with diversity and different forms, but at the same time we shall not be attached to any form. This is the purpose. This is the purpose of human life. Mukhya, liberation, freedom. That is Parama Purusartha. It's the ultimate goal of a human life. How can it be possible? It is possible only when we are conscious of the Upanishadic wisdom that everything is one. Everything is one. Isavasyam idam sarvam. That means everything. Jat kinchit means everything. Whatever is available around us, this tree, this everything, each and everything is pervaded by Isa or the principle of consciousness. We have to understand this. That means it is formless. It is the essence. And these different forms like the shadows are like the shadows. Why shadow is not real? Because shadow cannot exist without its source. If the source does not exist, shadow cannot exist. Therefore, shadow is the appearance. Shadow is unreal. How can we explain unreality? How can we explain falsity? Anything whose existence is dependent. So the existence of a shadow is dependent on its source. Therefore, it is not permanent, it is not real because it is dependent. Number two, it is subject to change. The position of shadow, small shadow or big shadow, that the position of the shadow also changes according to the change of the position of its source. Suppose in the noon time the shadow is less, and in the morning time the shadow is big. So it varies. So this is the nature of a falsity. This is the nature of a diversity. Okay. So there are two types of people. Some are satisfied with shadow. A child fears shadow. Child complains. Child complains that this is second mama. This is the second mother. Child complains to her mother that mama, this is the second mama. Mother is trying to convince that this is not second mama, this is my shadow. But the child can't understand because the child does not know the Upanishadic wisdom, Upanishadic understanding. Child does not have, so the child fails to understand. So what the mother will do? Mother cannot convince the child that this shadow is unreal. Therefore, mother will go to a place of light where light is exposed from different sides. Then shadow is removed, and child is convinced that there is only one. My mother is with me. The shadow is removed. So, so until the child does not have that Upanishadic wisdom, that sort of realization, the child will be involved in the falsity in the appearance. Similarly, the ignorant people, those who are ignorant of the oneness, they will be engaged in the manifoldness or manyness or diversity. So there are two types of people. Some are satisfied with the appearance and some are satisfied with the reality. What is reality? Now that cannot be contradicted by any other principle, and that is Isa. That is the principle of consciousness. That is one. This is the Upanishadic wisdom. And then this in the second line there is a prescription, there is an instruction to man. If this is the truth, if you understand this truth, that everything is pervaded by God, everything is pervaded by Isa, then how do you live in this world of diversity? Tena tektena vanjita. That means enjoyment is not bad. You can't avoid enjoying this jagat. You have to enjoy this jagat. You have to enjoy everything. You can't avoid anything. Because without kamana, there is a problem in kamana. Buddha says that kamana is the root cause of suffering. And many Indian philosophical systems claim that kamana is the root cause of suffering. Kamana is the root cause of suffering. But kamana is also treated as a purusartha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Here kama is taken as a purusartha. So here it has a double role. Kama is treated as a purusartha. This is the goal of life, because without kamana you cannot initiate any action. You can't start any action. So you must have kamana, and that is a value of life. At the same time, kamana is considered as the root cause of suffering. So how can we negotiate it? So our kamana should not be our vasana. Our kamana should not be our attachment. So kamana is not bad, attachment is not bad, but we have to know the art of involvement, art of involvement. As in Bhagavad Gita it is said, karma is not bad, but you have to know the skill of doing action. Yoga karmesu kausalam. Similarly, attachment is not bad, but you have to know how to be attached. You should know the skill of attachment. And what is that skill? Tena tektena vanjita. That means you have to be attached with everything with a sense of detachment. Attachment with a sense of a detachment. This is the Upanishadic technique. This is the Upanishadic technique. How can you become happy in this world of suffering? So what is that? What is that instrument? What is that technique? The technique is that we don't deny any type of attachment. Attachment is very much necessary. In that sense, Upanishadic wisdom is practical because we don't renounce any attachment. Attachment is very much necessary, but just we have to know how to be attached. We have to know how to be attached. Similarly, we can't renounce any action, but we have to know how to do an action. So that is called Tena Tektena Vandita. That means if we have the Upanishadic wisdom that Isavasyam idam sarvam, everything is pervaded by God, there is only one principle, and that is the truth, and everything that appears is false. If we have this wisdom, then we have to apply that wisdom in this practical life. That means whenever we are attached with any form, we have to remember the formless. Whenever we are attached with any form, we have to remember that we are formless. I am giving an example. There is air, but when we put air inside a balloon, it becomes a balloon. What is the shape of a balloon? The balloon can have any type of shape according to its design. But what is the difference between the inside air and outside air? They are same. Inside air and outside. Inside air means the air that is in balloon and the air that is outside the balloon, they are same. They are same. We have to understand this. If we understand this, then this is Upanishadic wisdom that the inside air and outside air both are same. It is oneness. This is the understanding of a oneness. But from the practical standpoint, there will be a question: is the existence of a balloon is meaningless? Then the answer is big no. The existence of a balloon is not meaningless. Now imagine what is the case when there is no air in the tube of your scooty or bike or car. That is just like a balloon because the air that is put in the tube of your cycle or motorcycle, then that air is a form, and that is same as the outside air. So if the outside air and inside air are same, then one may ask, if both are same, then there is no need of putting air inside the tube. But it has its practical use. If there is air in your tube of a scooty or bike, then the wheel can run. Otherwise, you will be in trouble and you will go to the repairing shop and you will make your bike or scooty repaired. Because that inside air may be false from the standpoint of outside air or the ultimate air, but so far as the practical purpose is concerned, the false air means the inside air is meaningful. Similarly, every relation is meaningful. Similarly, every change is meaningful. Though we know that from the ultimate standpoint, from the Paramarthika Satta, all these things are meaningless. So, meaningful and meaningless, this is understood from two perspectives. Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya, this is only your wisdom. You have to understand this, that from one perspective Brahman is true and Jagat is mithya. But from the Vyavaharika Satta, Jagat is very much true. And you have to live in this mithya Jagata. Then what is the conclusion? You have to live in the mithya Jagata with the knowledge that this Jagat is mithya. Then what is the crisis? We live in mithya Jagata and we take this mithya Jagata as Satya Jagata. That is our mistake. And from this mistaken wisdom, we have wrong attachment. We have wrong attachment. So attachment is not bad. Wrong attachment is bad. This Jagat is mithya. This Jagat is mithya only for a man of wisdom, not for anybody else. It is not mithya for a child. It is not mithya not for an ignorant man. It is mithya only for a man of wisdom. Because this is a level of understanding that this Jagat is mithya. If you fail to understand that Jagat is mithya, rather it is better you think that Jagat is Satya. Because that is one platform. You have to live in this Jagat thinking that this Jagat is Satya. But the another level of understanding is that I am living in this Jagat. This Jagat is subject to change. This Jagat is subject to contradiction. Therefore, from the ultimate perspective, this Jagat is mithya. So now our attachment is of two types. If you are attached with a form, considering that form as real, this is wrong attachment. That attachment leads to bondage. If we are attached with a form, considering that this form is really formless and it is mithya, then that attachment is not bad. That means detachment does not mean that you will become a sannyasi, you will renounce this world, you will leave this world, you will go to Himalayas and you will live their selfish life. This is not the meaning of a detachment. This is not the meaning of a sannyasa. This is not sannyasa. Sannyasa means your attitude, your way of living, the art of living. You have to know how to live in this world of diversity. Therefore, great seers, Buddha, Shankaracharya, and many others, after getting enlightenment, they have returned to the world and they have served for the common people. Sarvamukti. That if I am liberated, if I have attained enlightenment and freedom, then everybody will attain this. That means who is qualified to live in this world of diversity? Only a man of wisdom who has the wisdom of oneness, who has the wisdom of formless. Yes, there is form, but this form has only pragmatic value. But from the ultimate perspective, from the higher perspective, this is not true. I am giving another example for the students. Imagine your family, imagine your relation with others. When you are talking with your father, you are behaving like a doctor. But when you are talking with your teacher, your behavior is changed. Then you behave like a student. When you are talking with your friends, your behavior is still changed. You are behaving like a friend. Similarly, if you are married, when you are talking with your husband, then you are behaving like a wife. So you are playing different roles, and every role has its rule. has its formality, and you are very much aware of all these different formalities. But when you are talking with your father, do you behave with him like a wife, like a friend, like a sister? No. This is practical life. That means you know what being like a daughter, what being like a wife, what being like a sister. You are playing a different role, but what is that you? What is that you? Are you wife? Are you daughter? Are you a sister? You are everybody. But you should have the knowledge that from one perspective, the other's perspective does not exist. When you are behaving like a wife before your husband, your sisterhood, your the character of a daughter, all these things are not you. You are just related to one relation. So, if from another perspective, this perspective is meaningless, similarly, from the Paramarthika Satta, all these empirical perspectives are meaningless. If you understand this, if you have this wisdom, then you cannot have wrong attachment in this world of diversity. So world of diversity is very much natural. World of diversity is very much natural. We cannot cancel diversity because there will be many. Suppose you are working in a college, or suppose you are studying in a college. You can't say that everybody will be like me. No, there will be different types of people, different types of friends. Varieties will be there. You can't change it. But you have to know, you have to culture, how can I live with many people? Even with such people whom you don't like. You don't like. So you have to transcend beyond your likeness and dislikeness. Chitta vrittis, modifications of your mind. So beyond the modifications of mind, there is a silent mind. So I started my talk with silence. So be silent within. If you are silent, you can observe the oneness in diversity. If you are not silent, that means you are trapped by any one form. So manyness are there, diversity is there, but don't be trapped by any form, any box. So come out of that box, come out of that bondage. Is it not practical? Is it not practical? Yes, it is practical. It is practical. We have to live practically with this knowledge. This knowledge is very much required in our practical life. So Upanishadic wisdom is very much practical, it is pragmatic. Okay. Similarly, the message of the Bhagavad Gita is very much practical. We can't say that they are only theories. Yes, that is a theory, but this theory is very much useful in our practical life. So Upanishad does not reject attachment. Upanishad does not reject kamana. Upanishad does not reject the world of diversity, but Upanishad teaches us how to live with the world of diversity, how to live in a time of a crisis. That is the message of wisdom. So we should have knowledge, we should have wisdom of oneness. That is Savasyam idam sarvam. Idam sarvam. That means there is no exception. There is no exception. Even you see your friend, you can imagine that this is Isa. If you see your enemy, then also you can understand this is Isa. If there is a happy moment, you will think that this is Isa. If there is a very unpleasant moment, you will think that is Isa. So that was the problem of Arjuna in the battlefield. Arjuna was confused with whom I shall fight. Shall I fight with my brothers? Shall I fight with my fight against my teachers? So he was confused with the diversity. So he failed to understand that I am fighting only to protect dharma. So only dharma will be visible, and this diversity will not be visible to me. But for an ignorant person, the diversity will be visible. Then his duty will be disturbed. He can't do his duty. Suppose I am a teacher, I am teaching in the class. Now I am speaking something. I am 100% involved in my teaching, in my speak. Whatever I am speaking, now I am completely involved in this. I don't have any. My mind is not absent. My mind is very much present in the present. That is the true attachment. That is the right attachment. This is the true contemplation. If you exist at one place and your mind roams in different places, then that mind is a disturbed mind. Similarly, Arjuna was in the battlefield, but his mind was not stable. His mind was not stable. His mind was roaming there in the realm of brother, teachers, relations, consequences. What will be the consequence of my duty? When you do your duty, you should fix your mind on duty only. Your mind should not roam, should not go to the place of consequence, because that is another place, that is another situation. Consequence is not at your hand, that is about future. Action will be done in the present and consequence will come in future, and you don't have control of that future. You can, even you have done very good in your exam, you can't give guarantee that you will have a good result, because there are many factors. So simply concentrate, simply focus on your duty. Then your mind will remain stable. Sthita prajna, sthita prajna means be sthita, be stable in knowledge. Sthita prajna. Prajna means knowledge. But if you know the truth, then be sthita, be stable with that knowledge. Then what is knowledge? Isavasyam idam sarvam. If this is knowledge, then the mind should remain stable with this knowledge. And that mind, and the person with that mind, which is groomed with Upanishadic wisdom, that yes, this world of diversity is only falsity. Isavasyam idam sarvam. Because everything shall pass away. Everything shall pass away. This is Isavasyam idam sarvam. Everything shall pass away. If this knowledge is there, if mind is groomed with this type of thinking, then that mind is really qualified to live in this world of attachment. Lord Krishna had thousands, lakhs of gopis. How is it possible? How is it possible? Can you live, can you manage with two women in your life? Never. But how Lord Krishna was managing that? He is really a romantic person. A romantic person is he who can have a sense of a vairagya. So Lord Krishna had thousands, lakhs of gopis only because he was not attached to anybody. Only the sound of the flute was sufficient to inspire the gopis. So that is the true bhakti, that is devotion, that is the sense of vairagya. Tena tektena vanjita, that means you be attached with everything with a sense of a detachment, vairagya. And the second ethical instruction is that don't covet, Don't be possessive. Don't be possessive. If everything belongs to Isha, if everything is pervaded by Isha, then I am not the owner. I am not the owner of this world. I am not the owner of my house. I, in the practical sense, I am the owner of my house, but I should not have that agency. I should not have that attachment. I should not be too much possessive. That is called parigraha. Parigraha means too much possessive. Aparigraha means we should develop the attitude of a non-possessiveness. That I need, I don't need more. Therefore, Mahatma Gandhi said that the earth has enough for our needs, but hardly anything for our greed. If you are a greedy person, then nothing can suffice you. Nothing is, you can't be satisfied with anything. The more you get, the more you want. So this is bondage. This is wrong attachment. Attachment with a possession. So don't covet, don't possess, don't accumulate what is not necessary. These two ethical prescriptions are there in the first verse from the wisdom that is said in the first line. Isavasyam idam sarvam. This is the Upanishadic wisdom. This is the Upanishadic realization. If you are established with this realization, then you have two instructions. That how to be attached, how to live in this world of diversity. That is in the sense, the answer is this with the sense of a detachment. Vairagya bhava. And the second instruction is if everything belongs to God, then nothing is yours. Don't have wrong attachments, so don't possess more, don't covet anything, and don't accumulate more and more. Don't get lost in more and more accumulation. That is bondage. So Mukhya is Paramapurusartha, freedom is the ultimate goal of life, and that is the real purpose of life. If you are not happy, if you don't have a peaceful life, then what is the use of your money? What is the use of your wealth? What is the use of your wisdom? What for that wisdom? So the peace is the ultimate goal of a life. Freedom is the ultimate goal of life, and that is attained by Upanishadic wisdom. And what is that wisdom? That beyond all changes, there is one constant substance. As Kheya said, there is a constant substance which is Satyam Avadhitam, which is the ultimate truth, which is not changed at all, which is not contradicted at all. So in the midst of all contradictions, we can be aware of the principle of uncontradictory truth, the ultimate truth. Isavasyam idam sarvam. Isavasyam idam sarvam. Isavasyam idam sarvam. Always imagine this. Always recite this. Isavasyam idam sarvam. Everything shall pass away. Everything. Suppose you are insulted. Somebody insulted you. You just think this. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away. No, this is false. This is false. This is true if I think it to be true. If you just think this, if you culture your mind in this way, you will see that you will create your own world. So man is the maker of his own destiny. You are your world. You are your world. Okay, the world you live in, that world is created by your wisdom, by your feelings. This world is a psychological world. This world is a mental world. Try to understand it. As you think, so you become. As you think, so become your world. Therefore, always imagine. Always imagine that I shall be good. I shall live in a very in a very good world. I shall have good friends. I shall have a good relation. I shall become a very good human being. Just imagine this. Gradually, you will see, you will experience that really you are really living in such a world. Thank you. If any question, please ask. If any question, if anybody has any question, please ask.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such a beautiful explanation. And now I would like to request the students and all honorable participants present here to raise their questions or doubts if they have any. Yes, Rajaram Nayak, you please ask your question.
Sir, I have a doubt that you said that the Upanishad teach us there is a ultimate thing, ultimate being that is Brahman, and we should aware about that. We should have knowledge about Brahman, and that Brahman has created these material things for us to enjoy. And at the same time, you are saying that our goal should be the liberation, and Brahman should be the ultimate goal. And you talked about attachment, you talked about desires, and if we are desiring something, we if we are attached with this material world, if we are attached with this relational world, then how far it is justified to get liberation, to get to know that ultimate reality, to know that our Atman is Brahman. We will know that because the Upanishad is talking about wisdom, and uh, at the same time we are attaching ourselves with this material world. We are involving, we are desiring, and at the same time we are getting liberation to know that ultimate Brahman. Then where is the point about Isa? We are only talking
Yes,
about
yes,
ourselves.
I got your point. You mute. Okay. Now you are asking me this question. This is your action. This is your. This is what you are doing now. But at the same time, you are conscious that you are asking, and you are conscious what you are asking, and you are attentive what I shall say, how I shall respond. So who is that in you? Who is witnessing what you are doing? You are asking, and same time you are conscious that you are asking. So who is that in you who is conscious that you are asking? If you are conscious that you are asking, so your asking is only a duty about which you are conscious. Similarly, the moment you are attached in this Jagat, you should not be biased. You should not be motivated by that attachment. You should not be trapped by that attachment. You are just doing your duty in the sense of duty for Lokasangraha, okay? But you are not trapped by that attachment. Attachment is not bad, but your trapping is bad. If you are trapped by that attachment, that is bad. I am giving an example. What you have and what you are, there is a difference. Sometimes we mistake what we have, we are that. Suppose you have a body, you have two hands, you have a beautiful face, you have a very strong body. That is what you have. But you should understand you are not that body. If you think that I am my body, then you will have a wrong attachment with your body. Similarly, You have your mind, you have your mind through which you are thinking, but you are not that mind. Your identity is something different. Neither you are this body, nor you are this mind. Mind mean in Indian philosophy, in Upanisad, we understand mind as emotion, because there is a higher concept that is called intellect. Intellect has discriminative power, that you can discriminate between good and bad, viveka jnana. You have also an intellect, but you are not that intellect. So the moment we confuse between what we have and we are, then we are wrongly attached with what we have. You have your body, but you should understand you are not your body. You are something else. You have your mind, but you are not your mind. You are something else. You have your intellect, but you are not that intellect. Similarly, you have many relations, you have many possessions, you are enjoying that, but if you do not have the sense of enjoyment, a sense of detachment, then you will go on enjoying and enjoying and enjoying. You can't come out of that. Everything should go in a routine way. Suppose you are going to a railway station to attend the train, to catch the train, so you have to go in time. That time consciousness is very much practical. You can say that in Vedanta, time is meaningless. That is, time is eternal. So I shall not go to railway station in particular time. No, this is nonsense. You have to go to catch train at a particular time, and you will also enjoy your visit when we are traveling by train. But when your journey is finished, you are finished, you are out of it. So every moment you are attached and detached. That is called pratyahara. Pratyahara means you have to withdraw your senses from the sense objects. What happens? We never desire that this enjoyment should end, this enjoyment should continue. So whenever there comes some crisis or some unpleasant situation, we fail to maintain our mental balance. If we are indifferent of this pleasant situation and unpleasant situation, because both are false, and I am the witness of both pleasant and unpleasant situations, then neither I am affected by pleasant moments, nor I am affected by the unpleasant moments. If you are affected by pleasant moments, then that is also your bondage. If you are affected by unpleasant moments, that is also your bondage. Bhagavad Gita begins with Visada Yoga. That means Arjuna was in Visada. That was the unpleasant moment for Arjuna. But for a yogi, no time is pleasant or unpleasant. Only duty, only oneness. This should be your attitude. Okay, you can't cancel any assignment. You can't deny this Jagat. The Jagat is very much real from the practical perspective. But you have to understand that this will pass away, this will pass away, this will pass away. Can you get back any date in your life? Can you get back today in your life? This is gone, gone forever. Similarly, you say goodbye to all your attachments and you transcend, you go beyond that. Don't hang over. You enjoy and you finish, and you be involved in the next assignment. Don't hang over with the past. That is the message of a Upanishad. Did you get my point or not?
Yes. There is no stability in that kind of thing that you are talking about. There is no stability. Sthita prajna is not there.
Sthitapagya is a very, this is a qualification. The moment you will try to practice, try to culture your mind, then only your mind will be stable. It is practically seen that we are all unstable. We are not stable at all. So Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita, they teach how to be stable. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
our goal, suppose I am giving an example. Suppose you are driving your car or you are driving your bike. Is it not expected that your mind should be stable? Mere common sense. If your mind is not stable while you are driving, definitely you will face accident. You will suffer out of your mistake and you will cause that to others. So suppose you are cooking, should your mind should be stable or not? If your mind is not stable and you are cooking, then that food will not be tasty at all. Similarly, if you are studying, your mind should be stable. So we should have a stable mind, and there is no other substitution, no substitute. Only you should have a balanced mind, a sthitapragya mana, a steadfast mind. Otherwise, you can't have concentration on your duty. You should have. If you don't have, then try to have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So there is another question, I think, from someone named Ravindra Pradhan. Will you like to
Yes, yes,
put the question? Yes.
continue.
Ravindra Pradhan, please raise your question. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Uh, sir, thank you first of all for enlightening us. Sir, I am in doubt or instead of confusion that you made a distinction between the good attachment and bad attachment, or negative attachment and positive attachment. But we have already two terms, that is the attachment and detachment, pravriti and nivritti. And this distinction is not because of not for action, rather the intention behind the action. So I actually couldn't understand why this distinction between positive attachment and negative attachment. Whether it is positive or negative, uh, it will bound us, bind us. Please, sir.
Yes, it is commonly understood, it is generally understood.
Please, sir, on your sir.
Yes, it is generally understood that attachment is bad. We should renounce attachment. Okay, this is the common understanding that we should not have any attachment. Therefore, Buddha said, kamana or attachment is the root cause of suffering, that one should not have any attachment. But at the same time, kamana is considered as purusartha. Kamana is necessary. You have, you should have kamana, otherwise you can't do anything. You can't do anything. If a scientist will not have a kamana, will not have a desire to discover something or to do something, he can't do. So that kamana is not bad. Management of desire is necessary. You have to know the skill of management. You have to know that skill. How can I manage my attachment? What should be the quality of my attachment? Okay. Similar, so your kamana should be your upasana, not vasana. Kamana leads to vasana. Kamana leads to upasana. That when you are attached with divinity, that is a highly evolved sense of attachment, that you are attached with oneness. Yoga means what? Yoga means the union, that's the attachment. That the you are attached, your empirical self is attached with the higher self. That is yoga, and that is possible by upasana, bhakti. So bhakti is one attachment, asakti is another attachment. So if your attachment is asakti, then it is a passionate attachment. Passionate. That means you have attachment, you create attachment, and you are trapped by that attachment. This is one situation. In the other case, when you have a bhakti, then there you have attachment, you enjoy your attachment, but that attachment does not bind you. So if your attachment traps you, binds you, that is a negative attachment. That attachment should be renounced. And if your attachment leads you towards liberation, then that attachment is good attachment. That attachment is necessary. Okay, this is the difference. You can't say that man can exist without attachment. Then this is not possible. You should have attachment, but you should know, because you are a better animal. We are all animals, but we are better animals because we have rationality. If you have rationality, we should use our rationality in desire management. If a dog desires, if a dog desires, it immediately fulfills its desire. But when a man desires, man asks the question whether it is desirable or not. Many desires are there, but whether my desire is desirable or not, that is the question. This question is a human question. This question is a human possibility. Shreya and Preya. What is Preya to me? What is Priya? What is pleasant to me? I am not attached to that. I have that desire for Lokasangraha, that I shall do good the community, for all human beings. So this type of desire will promote your will transform your personality, will evolve your personality. Okay, you shall have growth in your life. Without that kamana, therefore, kamana becomes your sankalpa. Sankalpa has double meaning. Sankalpa is called vasana. Out of many sankalpa, we are attached with our kamana. This is one meaning of sankalpa. But sankalpa comes when all your desires are groomed. Then you have one sankalpa. Sankalpa means good desire. That I have sankalpa, I have a determination that I shall be detached. I shall do something good for the society. This is the sankalpa. Sankalpa means there is no deviation. There is no deviation. Your desire is fixed with your wisdom. And that sankalpa is the symbol of goodness. Shiva sankalpa. Sankalpa is Shiva sankalpa. And that sankalpa is not possible for a fluctuated mind. So your kamana should become your sankalpa. Okay. We many times we desire, we decide to do something, but our mind is not stable. Next day we find logic to deviate from it, to cancel this program, cancel this proposal, because we are not stable. But once you have sankalpa, then you will not alter your desire. You will stick to the path of righteousness. So Arjuna failed to have sankalpa, that I am a fighter, my duty is to protect dharma, I shall do my duty in the battlefield. This sankalpa was lacking in Arjuna. So, if you are a student, you should have sankalpa that I shall study, irrespective of other difficulties. If you are a teacher, you should have sankalpa, Sankalpa means the strongest desire that I shall teach my students with love and affection. That should be Sankalpa. So, desire is not bad, management is not bad. Misuse of desire, misuse of management, attachment is bad. Thank you.
Uh, Sir, may I ask one question? Yeah,
Yes,
may
yes.
I ask one question?
He said
Thank you.
there are two questions. One is from Ravindra Pradhan. Again, he again raised his hand, and one is from Vishwanath Laha.
Vishwanath
Yes.
Laha should ask.
Okay, okay. Yeah, please,
Okay.
please go ahead, please.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to convey my thanks to sir, because really in your word, what you have taught, the very manner you have taught is excellent. But I have one query that if we follow the Ishavastam principle, and I think the same truth has been reflected in the 30th verse of chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That is, जो मांग पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं जो मुझ पश्यति तस्हं न प्रणश्यामि शौचमि न प्रणश्यति. The problem is that if God is all pervading, if God God actually exists in each and everywhere, and each and every person on the same God, then we can actually explain the phenomenon of brotherhood, the phenomenon of friendship. But if we go to Gita, then we can see that we have to consider, that is, Arjuna have to consider the Kauravas as the foes, as the enemy, and he has to fight with them. But if one and the same God actually exists in all the individuals, then how the phenomenon of enemy, the phenomenon of fight can be accounted for? This is my question. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. This is a very beautiful question and a very technical question. And this question is discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. There are two types of attachment. Two types of attachment. Attachment with manifestation, attachment with the unmanifest. Attachment with manifestation. This is what we are discussing every day, everywhere. But there is another type of attachment if you are attached with the unmanifest. Therefore, you have to transcend both the attachments. You have to know the technique of going in the in both the ways. That means you can move from your attachment of manifestation to the unmanifest. Similarly, you have to come from the attachment of the unmanifest to the state of a manifestation. I am giving an example. Lord Arjuna failed to understand that who is Lord Krishna. Arjuna was convinced that he is my childhood friend and speaking many words of wisdom before me like a friend. He was taking everything casually. He was not serious because he was involved in the attachment of a manifestation. Here Arjuna is a symbol and Lord Krishna is a symbol. Arjuna is the confused mind, Lord Krishna is the enlightened mind. So there is a dialogue between the confused mind and the enlightened mind. So when the confused mind is confused, Arjuna is confused. Lord Krishna revealed his Vishwarupa. That you see, who am I? I am not your friend. I am your friend from this Vyavaharika Satta, but I am really that unmanifest. You and Arjuna failed to see, therefore Lord Krishna gave him the Divya Chakhu. Divya Chakhu means the possibility of higher vision, the transcendental vision, so that Arjuna can see the Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa means the unmanifest. unmanifest. Then Arjuna envisioned that state, but that Vishwarupa Darshana was for a very small moment, because one has to return from that unmanifest state to live in this world of manifestation. Otherwise, that will be another trapping. So, when we are living in the world of diversity, we should understand this is mithya and there is oneness. When you are established in oneness, you should not neglect this world of diversity and live a very selfish life. And in the Himalayas, you should return to this world of diversity. Bhagavad Gita is very practical in this regard. Bhagavad Gita says, don't be ignorant and don't be a useless man of wisdom, having the knowledge of my unmanifest. So having the knowledge of, therefore tenatektana bhunjita, that means bhoga is necessary, attachment is necessary, enjoyment you enjoy. But you, the moment you are enjoying, you should have understanding that this will pass away, this will pass away, this is temporary, this is transitory. You should have this knowledge. That is the sense of a vairagya. You have vairagya, but at the same time, you should understand my attachment for the society, for my community, for my family members are very much necessary. Suppose I shall have Upanishadic wisdom, I realized that I am really Brahman, but after that realization, I should live with my family members, with my wife, with my children very efficiently. Not that I realized Brahman and I shall neglect my family. So the return journey is also necessary. This is very beautifully explained in Bhagavad Gita, that even don't be attached wrongly with the oneness. So the knowledge of both unmanifest and manifest is that is called wisdom. Wisdom means you should have knowledge of both manifestation and the unmanifest. If you understand one, then your knowledge is incomplete. That is called dialectics. Dialectics means you have to understand the dialectics of unmanifest and manifest. If you are trapped by any one horn, then that is trapping. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your beautiful response and enlightening response also. Sir, I think there is no more question. So, shall we
Yes,
end
yes,
the
yes.
program here with
We,
a vote
we
of
shall we
thanks?
shall we shall have 9 sessions. So the first session is over. So we shall have other 8 sessions. We shall declare the dates. I really wish that everybody should join and everybody should ask a question, because I enjoy that. If you have questions in your mind, then I understand that you understand. Thank you.
Sir, sir, sir,
Yes, yes. In your,
sir. I am the student of GM University.
hmm.
Sir, is there any possibility you come and teach us offline class? Just sir requesting mane.
You see, you mute yourself. Uh, Offline and online, if you are making a distinction, that then you don't understand oneness. Because when I am teaching you, I love you. When Upanishad is taught, there is no, then you don't have any distinction between offline and online. Okay, that is a form. Online is a form. Offline is another form. If I am online, then I am connected with the 100 participants. If I am offline with you, I am only before you, only 15 or 16 students, and because I am serving in an institution, I can't have that facility to go physically and teach you. But I am not saying that. I am saying you, if you are really a student of Upanishad, and if you really love Upanishadic wisdom, then you should concentrate on that. You see, whatever we discussed now, that has been recorded. It will be uploaded in YouTube. So you can see it again and again. You can view it again and again. 10 times, 20 times you can have this, you can hear, you can view this discussion. Okay, so we discussed only one verse today. So we are not hurry, we are not jumping. We are discussing very with a very stable mind. So you go through your text and try to love your subject, try to love your teacher, going beyond offline and online. Yes, this is taught to us. We learned this. This should be your attitude, because it is not possible to get everything physically. That is a wrong attachment. You should have true attachment with wisdom. If it is available to us, that's okay. I shall say online is better because it is being recorded, and I shall send you the link so that you can view it again and again. Thank you, Rajaram, for your invitation.
Thank you, sir.
So then shall we go to our next program, Vote of Thanks, and conclude our program
Yes,
for
yes,
today?
yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Um, First of all, I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to our respected teacher, Dr. Pramod Kumar Dash, for selecting me as a co-speaker here. And next, I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to all the dear students and all my friends and all honorable participants who have who were present here. Some have left and who are till now present here. And obviously, to the organizers who have organized such an auspicious program, which is giving us a chance to understand these shlokas, these mantras, which are um, filled with so much depth and giving us a chance to understand them elaborately, more lucidly by the lecture, by the beautiful lecture of Dr. Pramod Kumar Dash sir. So here we would conclude our program for today, and the next day of this session will be declared by sir. So sir, please, please. Thank you.